Welcome back to Passionate World Talk Radio. Educate, enlighten, entertain. And this afternoon on Cool Your Heels with Lillian, our special guest is Joe West. And Joe is going to be talking about motivation and what makes people do what they feel like they need to do in order to be successful. So how are you this afternoon, Joe?
I'm great. Thanks for having me on.
Well, it's always a pleasure having you on. Last time we had you on, we spoke about motivation, and I think since then lots of things have happened to the United States and the rest of the world where motivation really needs to stay at a top priority. Would you agree?
Yeah, for sure.
So how do people get motivated?
Well, it's tough in a climate like right now because motivation, inherently in motivation, is movement, right? You've got to be doing something. Motivation is the drive that gets you up to do something. It compels you to do it. And we're in a climate right now where there's so much uncertainty and there's so much sort of closure. A lot of outside forces are sort of taking away some of our ability to go out and be mobile and motivated. So it's difficult, but it's just another thing in the way of success. Success has many roadblocks all along. So if you're going to be truly successful and you analyze successful people, you'll see that they don't seem to mind adversity. And it would just be another apparent roadblock in the course. But people that are truly motivated and have purpose to succeed at something end up being able to, this is par for the course. So it's not great for the prognosis of being success, but, at the end of the day, this is what successful people do. They overcome. So that's what we need to just keep in mind. We've got to keep going in the same direction and find some way to accomplish the goal. It doesn't matter. You have to be pragmatic about it.
And I think, too, you actually have to believe in yourself and believe in whatever support team you have surrounding you, that it's not so much you need somebody to pin your motivation on to help you climb out of the hole, but you yourself who need to begin that process yourself.
Yeah, I don't think you can be successful if your plan hinges on other people. I try to not give away powerful parts of my success plan to third parties. It never works out. You got to be accountable for your own success. So I never really ask for help or look for help. I scale when I need help. Whenever success comes, a little bit of success, and we need to invest and get bigger, so I'll scale that situation to be able to meet the need. But, I've just found over the past 30 years that nobody does you like you do you. Nobody's going to fight hard for you, or nobody's going to treat your business like it's their business. You've got to take on the ownership of that because people will continuously fail you. And then you scale when you get to a certain point, and it's just not, the demand is so heavy, you can't do it by yourself. Then you scale a little bit. And money helps keep people in line as a motivator to get things done. But I try not to give any of my vision, any of my mission statement. I try not to commit to anything bigger than what I can do on my own, at least to get the company started,
Yes. I tell people that you have to find the motivating factor within yourself to get yourself up in the morning and to take a good look around, because motivation is a very curious thing. What works for one person does not necessarily mean it's going to work for you. And what gets people up and picking or keep on picking themselves up off the ground and brushing themselves off may not be the same type of something that's going to make you rise up and encounter and put aside any problem that besets you. I know I had a friend say to me, I have to learn how to like myself, and you do it so well. How do you do that. And I said,
like
it's
you,
not a question of
did you
how
say like
do.
yourself?
Like yourself, love yourself, and be.
Yeah.
I mean, she's seen me handle difficult people, and or people who go about because they're unhappy themselves. They try to make you unhappy as well. It's part of their program. And she says, you just don't let it get to you. You're going to have to tell me how to do this so I can then motivate myself to move forward. And I kind of looked at her and I said, well, what works for me may not work for you. And
yeah,
she really had trouble with that.
Well, you know, in terms of liking yourself, I mean, I think at the end of the day, if you don't believe in yourself and believe in what it is you're selling, whatever that may be, a service, a widget, if you don't believe in it yourself, you're going to have a tough time getting it done. So you have to think that you have value. You have to think that what you're selling has value. And I'm in the music business, so what I have to sell is very conceptual. It's not a physical coffee cup that you go pick up. You know, it's intellectual property. You got to believe that you're good enough and that what you have, people need to have. You have to have some good ego involved with it. You know, and people, if they don't like you, you know, there's so many people. Move on. Find someone else to do business with. These aren't your customers. You might not ever make them your customers. You know, you need to find it's part of the liberating part of there being 7 billion people is that, hey, if this is not working, I can move on and try to find where I'm supposed to be, where my true audience is, whether that be with music or with making widgets.
And I think, too, that I tell her, I said, well, it's like this. When I first started out in the internet radio business, nobody knew who I was, and nobody really cared. I said, but I found something that made me valuable in their eyes to them. And now they can't get enough of me, or they come to ask me for advice. And I said, one of the things you have to make up your mind is that at the end of the day, you go home with yourself. You're the one who's calling the shots. You're the ones who are calling decisions. And also, you're the one who's accepting responsibility for whatever focus or success you are going to achieve. And if you don't like what's going on the outside of you, then you're not going to be happy what's going on in the inside of you, because the outside of you is what's making your insides work. And what's going on in your insides is what's going to make you better at what you do.
Yeah, I agree with that.
But a lot of people do not understand that. And I don't know how else to explain it to her, except as I said, this is what I was told by a really good friend who started out as an enemy. If you don't like yourself, nobody's going to like you. But more importantly, if you do not love yourself, if you can't stay true to yourself and stay loyal to what you yourself believe in, nobody else will either. And until you make that choice, then you're going to be at 6s and 7s with everybody else, because they'll know that you're not being true to yourself.
Yeah. People will slip out somebody who's not authentic.
Exactly. When people look at me, they say, you're genuine. We can feel this coming out of you. We know. So when you go on your soapbox, it doesn't bother us because we know why you are this way. And we accept the way you are. And I said, that's what you need to find within yourself. That's what's going to make the difference. I had people come up to me and say, Lillian, my life is half-lived. And I said, so what are you going to do about it? I said, you cannot ask other people to make you have a full life. Only you can take yourself out of that halfness and do something about it. And I said, but it's locked down. And I said, only on the outside. In the inside, there's no lockdown unless you have locked yourself down that way. And I know that I've spoken to a lot of parents who are been homeschooling their kids, and now they're trying to keep the kids entertained for the summer. And a lot of them are just at their wit's end. And I said, I took care of my kid by myself for 15 years, and we always were running out of time, not being able to get all the things done that we wanted to get done on the weekends. And I said, it's not like I could send them away to camp or send them away on vacations during the winter. I was always the one where the buck stopped with me, and I was the one who had to make sure there were things for him to do. I said, so you're coming to the wrong person with this. And I'm just wondering, maybe there should be courses out there of how parents can learn how to motivate themselves so they can turn around and motivate their kids so that they can move without being entertained by television or their tablets or the cell phone or the games that they play on their computers. Because there really seems to be a disconnect.
Yeah, I get that. If you're going to say, if motivation is the goal, there's a couple other conversations nested within that. If you want to be motivated to do something, there has to be something to do. So you have to know what your purpose is, globally and all the way down myopically to the little thing that you're trying to accomplish. You're trying to get an apple cart up a hill, there's purpose behind that. There's steps to take to do it. So depending on whether it's what you want to do with your life and finding what your true purpose is, or purpose of accomplishing a task of starting a small business or writing a song or putting out a record, all these things have steps to them. So if you want to be motivated, you've got to find a way to be able to look at something and say, okay, what does success mean? Well, success means the apple cart's on the top of the hill. That's what success means. People need to answer to themselves, like, hey, what do I want to do? What is my purpose, both if it's a big purpose or a small purpose? How do I find a way to get motivated, and how do I accomplish that task? And what is my version of success? What is success? Some people, versions of success is to sell apples along the way up the hill and be out of apples by the top of the hill, right? Some person wants to get all the apples to the top of the hill. Some people won't stop till they have a number one song. Some people won't stop until they have a song that was in a movie or they had an article written about them in a major periodical. That would be success for them. So when you're talking about motivation, motivation is the action. It's the verb, right? To be motivated. So it sort of infers that you're doing something. And everything that we do needs to have a mission statement, needs to have some sort of purpose. It needs to have, what do we think is a successful version? What am I trying to do here? So if you can quantify those things, you're going to have a much better trajectory and potential outcome of being successful. So, we need to ask ourselves, okay, motivated, yes, we all like it. But motivated is so abstract. If you're motivated to no end and you're just running around doing things that have no purpose, well, then you're a failure. So we need to talk about, okay, how do you find purpose? What is purpose? Is it an individual purpose or a whole life's purpose? When someone says their life is only half full, why do they think that? What is it that they feel they're missing out on? Is that something that they can go and do if they thought they should always be an artist and paint? Is that something that makes sense for them to do? How do they do that? How do they put a mission statement together? How do they achieve what it is? And what do they think success is? All those things, it's a systematic approach to life that is very easy. You may look at it and say, half my life is missing because I'm not painting. But the reality is, I'm not going to do what it takes to be successful as a painter. So they'll make that decision and never take it. But then they need to accept the fate that they are not successful. They're not going to have a full life. Or they're going to have to readjust the way they look at their life and say, hey, I'm willing to say that I don't have the time, energy, or effort, or life hasn't put me in a circumstance. I need to find another way to be happy. So, it's a simple approach to find these things in your life and to fill them. Most people feel paralyzed. That's why they're not motivated. But we shouldn't feel paralyzed. We should find out what it is that we're thinking, what we feel that we're missing, or what our purpose is, and then try to find a way systematically to get to that purpose. And we have to know what success is. You need to set that out whenever you set out to do the task. You have to say, this would be success for me. This is what I'm striving to achieve.
It's almost a way of saying, this is what I'm good at. This is what I'm sort of good at, but this is what I would like to be really great at. And
right.
Then take it to the next level. And I think the same thing can apply with your kids. I mean, I'm lucky. I have 3 grandkids. The youngest one already knows he's going to be a paleontologist, archaeologist on beach patrol during the summer. He's already made up his mind. This is what he wants to do. And he's at that young age of 7 where parents were going bonkers with him. So what did they do? They knew he loved to see how things work and put them together. So they signed him up for Lego classes. Every week he has Lego classes. I got to tell you, folks, he's not bored. Those classes keep him busy. And when he really gets to the point where he's driving them crazy because he's so energetic, they put him into a yoga class online. So he calms down when he does his yoga class. And you guys may laugh, but it works. My kid was hyperactive back in the 70s. They didn't have as many Legos now, so I used to put him in the bathtub for 3 or 4 hours. Told him as long as he didn't flood out the apartment, he could do whatever he wanted. And bless his heart, he did that. That always looked like a wall of water went through that bathroom every evening. But guess what? It got him calmed down. He got his homework done, and he still had a lot of fun. And wants a little mopping up if it accomplishes something and made him better at what he could do because he was calmed down enough to do it.
Yep, I'm with you.
I think. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm just agreeing with you. Let's say somebody goes to school to become a lawyer, or a doctor, but is miserable. They can be extremely motivated and have a life that they hate. A big part of this is some people will know what they want to be at a very young age and go in a straight path right to it. Most people meander around until they find out why they were put here. Hopefully we all find out a purpose and a reason for it. And that could be as simple as having a family that you are proud of. You've spent your time raising your kids and teaching them the right things. It's dedicated your whole time to staying at home and making sure you raise good human beings. It's incredibly noble. Another person could be a bricklayer and find great purpose in that. My father worked in the steel mill for 20 years. Someone go and have a great experience as a doctor. But it's been my experience through life watching people that a lot of people that are incredibly motivated have come to an end. They've put the cart before the horse. So now they're a doctor, now they're a lawyer, now they're a CPA, and they're making good money, and they're a success, and they were extremely motivated, but they failed to do the thing at the beginning, which was to look at it and say, hey, what's my purpose? What am I supposed to be doing? And if I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing, how do I find that out? How do I find a way to be motivated towards a means that was what my calling was? And let's say you're really good at baseball, but you hate baseball, and you're a really bad singer, but you love singing. There's a version of that life where you go on to be not the best singer in the world, but you have fulfilled your purpose, and you find your audience. There's another version where you go and play Major League Baseball, and people celebrate you as a highly motivated person that only did something that was a wasted life. So I think the crucial part to this when you're trying to compel your kids or compel yourself is to find them. Give people the freedom to analyze what it is they feel they're called to do. And if they don't know what they want to do, they need to chock their life full of experiences. So they take some voice lessons. They take guitar lessons. They play sports. They go and take some challenging academics, some STEM science stuff, or some honors classes, try to push themselves in a direction so they can have experiences to find out why and what they are supposed to be doing. Once they find that, then you really turn up the motivation and you try to be the best version of that you can be.
And not only that, ladies and gentlemen, in today's world, to find your motivation, there are so many universities and colleges online now that offers free classes on practically every and any topic you can possibly think of. So take a free course online and find your passion. And maybe along the way you'll feel motivated to actually go out to the neighborhood and help somebody get acquainted with some of the classes that you're learning all this information from. You would be surprised. One of the things that my doctor told me, he said, I was accepted to go into MIT, but I didn't have enough money. So I looked around and decided I wanted to help people. I put myself through medical school. Best choice I ever made. So he was motivated to help people, and he put himself through medical school. And he told me there were lots of days that he sort of slept through when he was an intern and went around with the doctors and everything. But he said it put food on the table because he worked in addition to taking out loans. So motivation is a powerful thing. It can make you move mountains and achieve the unachievable. You just decide how you want to use this power that develops within you to grow and move forward.
Yep, I would agree, with the caveat of making sure that your purpose is right, that you know what it is you should be doing. Many a life is wasted by putting a hand to a grindstone and then looking up 30 years later and realizing you wasted your life.
Absolutely. And how do you find out some of this motivation? Well, some of it you just have to go and dabble in life and see what works for you. Trust me.
Yep.
I'm 69 years old, and folks, I'm still trying to decide what I want to do with my life. And I have all kinds of avenues open to me, and I'm working and trying to figure out which avenue is going to be the best fit, and I am delighted. And I know there are lots of people out there that don't have the slightest idea what they want to do when they graduate from high school or even through college. Well, open yourself up a little bit and find your own self-motivators.
Yep.
To encourage you to try some of the things that are out there. Trust me, guys, what you have available to you in the 21st century wasn't there during the 1950s. I'll tell you that straight up. Didn't even exist in anybody's brain yet. Let me tell you another story about my granddaughters. They love to play baseball. One's a pitcher, the other one is a catcher, and they're told they're excellent. But they've got to compete against all the kids who live in the sunshine states 12 months of the year. And they were told, well, it may be a hard rock to go ahead and pursue baseball as part of your grown-up curriculum. And I told them, I said, if it's something you love, what do you have to lose? Go out after it. If that's your passion, if that's what motivates you to get up in the morning and slug it through school so you can stay on the team, then go and do it. Because having somebody tell you, well, you're up against fierce competition isn't the same thing as going out and being motivated and surprising everyone by being accepted on a senior team.
Yep.
So you need to keep these things in mind. Just remember, everything is relative. And what is one person's motivation is not somebody else's. So you have to decide which one is going to apply for you and then go out after it. Joe, could you please tell everybody where they can find you on the World Wide Web and talk about your other life with the music business for a couple of seconds? In case anybody needs to get in touch with you?
Everything that is all my creative outlets is at www.joe-west.com. So joe-west.com, and on there you'll find I've got a school for pro audio production and engineering. I've got a podcast called From the West Barn that we shoot about creativity in the music business. We talk to people that are very successful in that business and sort of get to sit at a table that most people don't have access to see how their lives became. I'm a hit songwriter and record producer, so I do that in my off time as well as make some documentary films. So all that stuff is under different tabs there on that website. Some different things. I was on your podcast last time talking about a documentary.
And you'll probably be on another podcast sometime in the fall because I just can't get enough of you.
Well, thank you.
That's
I appreciate that.
That's my motivation. You're welcome very much. So, ladies and gentlemen and children of all ages, you can listen to this podcast, Cool Your Heels with Lillian, interviewing Joe West all over again on amfm247.com/Lillian Cauldwell, Tuesday evenings from 8 to 9 p.m., and you can hear it on 16 additional terrestrial stations, plus twitter.com/TWR Network LLC, LinkedIn.com/Lillian Cauldwell, Facebook.com/Lillian Cauldwell 35, iHeartRadio, iTunes, Amazon, Alexa, Spreaker, Spotify, and also on the website, https://passionateworldtalkradio.com. Menu right-hand side of the page, scroll down to Cool Your Heels with Lillian, click on it, and you should be able to hear it. And before you go away and stray, Anatole France had this to say in 1894, every vice you destroy has a corresponding virtue, which perishes along with it. So thank you all very much for listening, and remember, have a great 4th of July. Thank you very much for listening.